And it was a pleasure to listen to your stories and the amount of work you've done so far. I'll talk a little bit about this very new program which has been launched by the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Rural Development. It's called the Prime Minister's Rural Development Fellowship Scheme. So what the idea is that, we all are aware of what's going on in the Red Corridor, how the country is being affected by this problem of Naxalism and Maoism, and what kind of movements are going around. So there are two basically ways of dealing with it. One is from the security point of view, you deploy your military and you fight against these people. And the other way, which I personally believe is a much better way, is to take the route of a development side and bring some fresh perspective, and let's get to the bottom and understand what are the basic issues, what are the problems these people are facing, and why they have turned on Maoist or as Naxalites. So, keeping on that vision, Government of India launched this plan, and on 13th of September 2011. And the idea is to bring some young professionals to the sector of development with a hope that they can bring some fresh perspective, and they would help in solving issues, because the main problem is that these people do not have any faith in any government institution. And this lack of faith and this complete disconnect is probably worsening the problem. And in order to counter that, maybe young people like us who believe that we can bring a change might help in some way. Also, we acknowledge as young people that our understanding of development sector is limited, and because obviously development sector is a mixed bag, right? But this fellowship could be a great beginning of our understanding of this microcosm of development. And with that belief, I took that leap of faith and took a call that yes, this is something which I want to do, and I don't want to be a part of that league which sits on the fence and cribs out everything that government is doing. Rather, being a part of the program and on the field, get on the field and be with the people and then understand what the issues are and then take a policy. So, probably I'll request some of my fellows who are here from the PMRDF. Raj is here, Manish is here, Gaurav is here, and Mahima is here. Probably.
Maybe we can have one focus question also, which we have 3-20 minutes to focus, if it's okay with you guys. There's so many topics, right? I think one topic that we feel is the role of the government. So we talk about business model, so many things. I find that very interesting. All these young guys are going to be entering the government. You just said that the government is going to be considered corrupt. So how are you guys thinking about that? How can the government, the bureaucracy, change? How can it work with interesting social entrepreneurs who are working on the ground? And what's your perspective, on how the government can work with NGOs and with social enterprises in rural India? Why did you join this program? That's our question.
Amita, would you like to have your opinion on this?
Yeah, so this is a personal experience. I know for a fact that in many developing parts of this country, within the country itself, there is a strong sense that for-profit enterprises and governance cannot go together, and there is a lot of skepticism. Despite the fact that it is often the governance structures which are accused of malpractices, there is often a very strong suspicion against for-profit enterprises, which is a great pity. So I'll relate some of my experiences to you. I'm one of the founders of a for-profit broiler company in Odisha, and it's in one of the poorest districts of Odisha. So when I got selected for the Prime Minister's Fellowship, there was a discussion between some quarters, some people I know in the government, who said that there might be a conflict of interest. And I said, then why should it be a conflict of interest at all? Because my interest is, apart from doing well for myself, is to participate in the development process of that part of the country. And whether I do it through a for-profit methodology, a non-profit, non-government methodology, or within the government, it's basically different paths leading to the same goal. So there is a lot of skepticism, and I think probably both of them can also talk about it. Ajay is right when he says that maybe at the very high levels of the bureaucracy, there isn't so much skepticism now, but at the lower levels of the bureaucracy and even amongst the local population, there is still a lot of skepticism against for-profit organizations, and especially in these Naxal-affected parts of the country. And I really think that for-profits, which with the conscience, need to enter these areas to change the perception and to increase their effectiveness and their penetration. And the second experience is that, so again, regarding the work that both of them are actually doing, when we actually were trying to set up our farm, what we realized was that, so in these Naxal-affected backward tribal districts, the government offers a variety of schemes to aid entrepreneurs. But when we actually went there to the respective offices, they were like, नहीं आप agriculture department के पास जाइए. We go to the agriculture department. The agriculture department says नहीं तो animal husbandry है, आप उस department में जाइए. That guy says नहीं आप electricity board. So what? It's not that they're trying to deliberately create trouble for you. It's just that the lower bureaucracy has absolutely no idea what the latest schemes and the circulars are. And then when you tell them that like आप circular लेके आइए हमें दिखाइए, then we will help you. And they're like, excuse me, aren't those circulars supposed to be coming to you from your superiors rather than we having to bring those circulars and show you? So I think, and in fact I ran through this idea that I have with some of the bureaucrats, that maybe one of the first things that a lot of PMRDs could do was to generate a lot of awareness in the local bureaucracy about the latest schemes and flagship programs that the government has, and what is the scheme first, and then you look at its implementation. So, and I'm sure both of them can really talk about that.
Does anyone else
want to share their perspectives, and then we can maybe have Rustam and Ajay do a closing remarks. Who's going to respond to that?
The government of India as of now has nothing called a social enterprise legally. There's nothing. So, I mean, it's nice to talk inside this room, but the reality is very different on a piece of paper. One first thing that you guys could do is get the mindset changed and get the law changed. So there's something in between an NGO, a non-profit, and a for-profit.
They're talking about that now, the 50B.
Yeah, exactly. The thing, I mean, it's not that hard to do because I've gone and talked to this and oh no, फिर तो लोग utilize करेंगे ऐसे stamp को और कुछ भी करेंगे. The fact is, it can depend on the district that you started your office on or are working in, and the majority of your sales, which is going to a particular community, can dictate it. So it's not very difficult, and I've talked to the choir, I've like sung to the choir in the government multiple times. Unfortunately, we live in a country where we are mostly young, but we are governed by the old.